Please be seated. Routine proceedings. The introduction of bills. The Honourable Member for Morden Winkler. Yeah, the Honourable Member for Morden Winkler.
I'm just waiting for the...
The Honourable Member for Morden Winkler has the floor.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I move, seconded by the member from Fort White, that Bill 229, the Christian Heritage Month Act, Commemoration of Days, Weeks, and Months Act amended, now be read a first time.
It's been moved by the Honourable Member for Morden Winkler, seconded by the Honourable Member for Fort White, that Bill number 229, the Christian Heritage Month Act, Commemoration of Days, Weeks, and Months Act amended, be now read a first time. The Honourable Member for Morden Winkler.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. It's my privilege to rise today to introduce Bill 229, recognizing the month of December as Christian Heritage Month. Christians of all cultural backgrounds and all denominations have played and continue to play a vital role in shaping our province and our nation. Through religious gatherings of worship, establishing of charities, schools, hospitals, and caring for the less fortunate, Christians have played and continue to play a vital role in Manitoba. This bill recognizes the role of their contributions. Thank you.
Is it the pleasure of the House to adopt the motion? Agreed and so ordered. The motion is accordingly carried. Committee reports. Tabling of reports. I have a document to table in accordance with Section 49, Bracket 2 of the Conflict of Interest Members and Ministers Act. I'm tabling a report by the Ethics Commissioner regarding the Honourable Minister of Public Service Delivery and member of the Legislative Assembly for the Maples, dated December 4th, 2025. Ministerial statements. The Honourable Minister of Advanced Education and Training.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. December 6th marks the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women. I want to begin by thanking the Honourable Minister responsible for Women and Gender Equity and her entire department for hosting a beautiful and moving sunrise ceremony this morning in the Legislative Rotunda to honour the lives impacted and lost due to gender-based violence. December 6th is a solid day in Canada's history. On this date in 1989, 14 women studying engineering at École Polytechnique in Montreal were murdered simply because they were women pursuing education in a male-dominated field. The shooter claimed he was fighting feminism. This act of terror was rooted in misogyny and hatred, and it changed our country forever. We remember these women because their lives were stolen from them for being women daring to learn, daring to dream, daring to exist. On this day, it's important we say their names. Geneviève Bergeron, age 25, civil engineering. Hélène Colgan, age 23, mechanical engineering. Nathalie Croteau, mechanical engineering, she was 23 as well. Barbara Dagnon, age 22, mechanical engineering. Anne-Marie Edward, age 21, chemical engineering. Maude Avranek, age 29, materials engineering. Maryse Lagenière, age 25, she was a budget clerk in the finance department. Maryse Leclerc, age 23, she was also in mechanical engineering. Anne-Marie Lemay, age 22, mechanical engineering. Sonia Pelche, 28, mechanical engineering. Michelle Richard, 21, materials engineering. Annie St. Arnaud, 23, mechanical engineering. Annie Turcotte, 21, materials engineering, and Barbara Kluznik-Wadjewicz, 31, nursing student. Education should never be a place of fear. It must be a place of safety, inclusion, and equality. As Minister of Advanced Education and Training, I know education is one of the most powerful tools we have to create change in the world around us. Our colleges, universities, and training institutions are where ideas are shaped, where future leaders are prepared, and where respect, equality, and equity must be foundational values. But we know that gender-based violence continues to affect lives across Canada and right here in Manitoba. We have seen families from all parts of the province torn apart by violence, and women and children forced to flee their homes to escape harm. Some have even been killed. These tragedies remind us that gender-based violence is not a distant issue, it is happening all around us. And we have seen a marked rise of online hate and both covert and overt misogyny over the past number of years. In the US, Roe v. Wade was overturned. A hate-fueled stabbing attack at University of Waterloo targeted women in a gender studies class. And right here in our own legislature, 2 powerful Indigenous women leaders were targeted with violence online and in their community offices. This violent behavior at the hands of men must stop. Across Manitoba, our post-secondary institutions continue to work towards greater safety on campus by strengthening policies, expanding supports, and fostering cultures of respect and accountability. These efforts are about ensuring that students, instructors, and staff members of all genders feel safe and supported. Education is also the key to prevention. When we teach respect and equality in classrooms, we help prevent violence before it starts. When we create safe and inclusive learning environments, we send a clear message. Violence and hate have no place here. Tomorrow, as we pause to remember the 14 women whose lives were taken at École Polytechnique, we also reflect on the women and gender diverse folks lost this year in Manitoba and across Canada who were killed because of gender-based violence. We honor their memory by continuing to make education a place of safety and recommitting ourselves to action through prevention, programming, and partnerships that make a difference. We honor their memory by encouraging women and gender diverse folks around us to continue to take space. We honor their memory by holding people accountable for words and actions that are rooted in misogyny. Let us work together to build communities on campuses and beyond where every person feels safe, valued, and free from violence, including gender-based violence. This is our collective responsibility. Education is the path forward, and together we can create change. Honourable Speaker, I ask all members of this chamber for a moment of silence to honour the victims of the Montreal Massacre and for the countless bright futures that have been destroyed by misogynistic men.
Is there leave for a moment of silence after others have spoken to this? Agreed and so ordered. The Honourable Member for Agassiz.
Honourable Speaker, I rise today to recognize the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women. Myself and a number of my colleagues attended the sunrise ceremony here earlier this morning to acknowledge the victims of gender-based violence. Each year on December 6th, Canadians remember the 14 young women murdered at École Polytechnique in 1989. These were women whose lives, full of promise, were taken simply because of their gender. That deliberate act of hatred remains one of the darkest moments in our country's history and continues to shape our national understanding of gender-based violence. The explicit targeting of women was not only an attack on individuals, but it was an attack on equality itself. It forced a conversation in Canada that continues to play out here today about the realities of sexism, discrimination, and the violence that too many women and girls continue to face. Gender-based violence is not a tragedy confined to the past. It exists here in our communities, in our province, across our country, and around the world. Femicide is the intentional killing of women and girls because of their gender. And here in Manitoba, we continue to face the heartbreaking reality of having the highest provincial rate in Canada. For the families and the communities in Manitoba and across Canada who have lost loved ones, please know that you are not alone. We stand with you in grief, in remembrance, and in the shared determination to build a safer society. Your courage calls on legislators, community leaders, and citizens to do better. Violence against women often happens where it should never occur, in homes, in relationships, and in spaces that should be safe. Many survivors carry their trauma quietly, without recognition or support. It is our responsibility to empower survivors, challenge harmful attitudes, and ensure that no woman or girl ever feels voiceless or powerless. This is not a partisan issue. Ending violence against women and girls requires all of us working together. Even the smallest actions can protect those at risk and help shift the culture that shows gender-based violence to persist. Honourable Speaker, as we honour the 14 young women whose lives were stolen in Montreal 36 years ago, may we also remember the many women in our province who have suffered or continue to suffer violence today. Let our remembrance inspire action. Let our voices challenge hatred and sexism wherever they appear. And let our efforts move us closer to a future where every woman and girl can live without fear. Thank you.
The honourable member for Tyndall Park.
I ask for leave to respond to the minister's statement.
Does the honourable member for Tyndall Park have leave to respond? Agreed. Agreed, and so ordered. The honourable member for Tyndall Park.
Honourable Speaker, we rise this afternoon for the National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women that will take place on December 6th. It is a time to reflect upon and acknowledge women who we have lost due to violence. In 1989, a man carrying a semi-automatic rifle and a hunting knife walked into a classroom, separated the women from all of the men, and proceeded to shoot all of the women. There were 13 students in their 20s and 30s and one administrator that died that day at a Cole Polytechnic school in Montreal. It remains to this day one of the most horrific acts of gender-based violence in our country. They all died because they were women. Honourable Speaker, the women who were shot had families. They were daughters, mothers, partners, aunts, and friends. And that is why tears are shed from coast to coast to coast in remembrance of this devastating act of misogyny. Acts of misogyny continue to this day. Sadly, gender-based violence happens every day in all of our communities across the country and all around the world. We as legislators have a shared responsibility to strive to end violence against women and girls by working together. We need to build more awareness and create much more means of prevention. In closing, I want to recognize all of those who have done such important work in honoring and supporting victims and survivors. These are people who do the advocacy. They listen, show up, donate, educate, or simply believe the survivors. You are the reason that change is made. Thank you for your strength, your empathy, and your unwavering commitment to justice.
We could all rise, please. Thank you. Member statements. The honourable member for Lodge-Modier.
Honorable Speaker, today I rise to recognize an extraordinary athlete from Lajmodière, Jill Chapman. Jill is a proud Manitoban whose determination and self-discipline have carried her to the world stage not once, not twice, but 3 times, 3 years in a row at the Ironman World Championships in Kona, Hawaii. For those unfamiliar, Kona is the pinnacle of endurance sport, a 3.8-kilometer swim in the open ocean, a 180-kilometer bike ride across lava fields, and a full marathon under relentless heat and wind. This year, Jill completed that grueling course in 13 hours and 37 minutes, earning her place among the world's toughest competitors. Her splits tell the story of perseverance, over an hour and 40 minutes in the water, 6.5 hours on the bike, and more than 5 hours on the run. Every second of that race demanded resilience, and Jill delivered. What makes Jill's achievements even more inspiring is the journey behind it. Her first foray into multisport came in February 2019 at a women's indoor duathlon, sparked by a personal goal to complete a full distance race by the time she turned 40. That early experience introduced her to a welcoming community, and by May of that year, she was racing in the Birds Hill Duathlon Series. Since then, she has consistently embraced accountability and discipline, balancing intense training with family life and a demanding career. Her commitment also extends beyond personal goals. This summer, she joined the Enbridge Tour Alberta for Cancer, cycling 200 kilometers over 2 days to raise vital funds for cancer care initiatives. Jill is joined in the gallery today by Adam Donaghy, Genevieve Donaghy, and Sasha Ivetic. Jill's story is a call to setting audacious goals, doing the hard work, and lifting others along the way. Please join me in congratulating Jill on her incredible accomplishments and in wishing her continued success as she inspires Manitobans to chase their own finish lines.
The Honourable Member for Morden-Winkler.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I'm pleased to rise today to celebrate the outstanding achievements of Jeremy Medachowski, owner of Thunderstruck Ag Equipment in Winkler. Jeremy and his team recently earned remarkable global recognition. Their Razor's Edge concaves were named one of Time Magazine's top 300 inventions of 2025, truly an exceptional honor. In 2016, seeing the need for a more adaptable concave, Jeremy began designing a new model through research and collaboration with farmers. Years after testing on John Deere and Case combines, the Razor's Edge concave was created. Its smart, graded design, tighter spacing at the front and wider at the back, improves threshing efficiency, reduces grain damage, and allows grain to flow more freely. International prototypes testing showed impressive results. Combines ran faster, grain loss decreased, and harvest interruptions were reduced. Since its official launch in 2024, Jeremy's invention has earned praise from agriculturalists and attention from Time Magazine. This recognition celebrates not only an innovative product, but the hard work, long days, and determination behind it. Agricultural innovation is vital to our province and to the farmers everywhere, and Jeremy's work shows how fresh ideas can create global impact. Jeremy and Jeremy's team, your achievement puts Winkler on the map in an exciting way. On behalf of the community and as your MLA, I offer my warmest congratulations. Thank you for your contribution to our local economy and agriculture. I ask my colleagues to rise to congratulate the Thunderstruck team who are here in the gallery today.
The Honourable Member for Elmwood.
Honourable Speaker, I'd like to rise today to celebrate a pillar in the Elmwood Community Care-A-Lot Nursery Incorporated, who will be celebrating their 50th anniversary on January 26, 2026. Care-A-Lot began its operations at 829 Watt Street on January 26, 1976. Thanks to the vision and dedication of its founders, Peter and Judy Schnell, along with Ray and Elspeth Newberry. In its early years, Carolot offered programs for both infants and preschool-aged children, but over time, the center transitioned to focus exclusively on preschool-aged children, and now proudly serves children aged 2 to 6, with a licensed capacity of 68. Carolot has benefited from remarkable leadership stability throughout its history, with only 4 executive directors over 5 decades. Its inaugural executive director, Lorraine Maskew, followed by Darlene Kupchak-Heeland, then Leona Lowen, and its current executive director, Tracy Kosser. For 5 decades, Carolot Nursery has been more than a child care center. It's been a pillar of Elmwood community and a source of support for families across Winnipeg. Generations of children have started their learning journey here, guided by caring educators who nurture curiosity and confidence. Parents have found peace of mind knowing their little ones are in a safe, loving environment. The impact of Carolot extends far beyond its walls, shaping futures and strengthening the fabric of our community in ways that will be felt for years to come. I'd like to ask all my colleagues to join me in celebrating Carolot's milestone anniversary and to thank them for all their incredible work over the past 50 years. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
December for many Manitobans is the most joyous time of the year. A time for family, a time to slow down, a time to be thankful, and a time to give back. The generosity of Manitobans truly knows no bounds. This time of the year, maybe to some of your surprise, is my favorite time of the year. I love celebrating Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, and every other celebration and party under the sun. Regardless of your culture, faith, if you have family nearby or not, it's a time to reflect on what matters to you most. Whether it's a big dinner with loved ones, catching up with old friends, or a cozy night at home watching movies like Elf, Home Alone, or Die Hard. Yes, Die Hard is a Christmas movie. Everyone has their own traditions, and that's what makes this season so special. It's one of the many reasons I love living in Manitoba and Canada. We celebrate in different ways, but all for the same reason: to share joy, gratitude, and kindness. This season also highlights Manitobans' generosity, families donating time, goods, and taking care of one another, making holidays brighter for everyone. These acts of kindness are just as important as trees or dinners. My son and I in Fort White have the pleasure of judging Lindenwood Holiday Lights once again, led by Laura Thomas and her incredible board from Lindenwood's Community Center. From Polar Bear Lane to Candy Lane, Gingerbread and Nutcracker Lane, neighbors and Manitobans come far and wide to see the amazing lights in Lindenwoods. I invite you all to come by. Now, caroling is also another trademark of Christmas. I was going to sing, but I was told I'm not allowed to sing in the chamber, so instead I invite all Manitobans to come to the Legislature on Saturday, December 6th, to celebrate an open house in a non-partisan way, celebrating Christmas and the holiday season. For myself and the PC team, I wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and a joyful holiday season. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for St. River.
'Twas the last sitting before the open house took place. Not a creature was stirring by the chamber or mace. The halls had been decked out with garland and care in hopes that the Premier soon would be there. The members were seated, the chamber composed, while papers lay quiet and laptops were closed. And I, as the whip, keeping order in line, had readied the caucus with purpose in mind. When out in the rotunda there arose such a clatter, I sprang from my seat to see what was the matter. Away to the doorway, I flew like a flash, past staff as they hurried in one final dash. The lights in the hallway shone steady and bright, casting long solemn shadows through marble and height. And there in the stillness, approaching the floor, came the rise of loud footsteps I'd heard once before, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but the Premier arriving with confident cheer, the most popular Premier this province has seen, with One Manitoba, his banner and theme. With ministers behind him in a unified line, I knew in that moment the province would shine. More rapid than motions or efforts they came, I nodded in approval while calling by name. Now ministers, members, stand proud as can be. The whole place will sparkle from 11 till 3. Stand ready, stand steady, show all that we do. This open house shines with the province in view. As I retook my place with the chamber aware, I honored tradition and bowed to the chair. Then out from the hallway came heavy-footed strides, like a busted old play that no coach ever guides. And into the chamber, off tempo and slow, stepped the PC leader, unsure where to go. His papers were tangled, his messaging weak, each sentence collapsing the moment he'd speak. He fumbled his notes like a botched second down, still searching for plays that would turn things around. The speaker sprang up as the noise reached full roar, calling order so loudly it rattled the floor. Then the Premier rose calmly on a point of order clear, his voice cutting through chaos so the House could hear. Join us at the People's Building and share in its delight. Happy open house to all, and to all a good night.
Prior to oral questions, there's some guests in the gallery I'd like to introduce. We have seated in the public gallery from the Source Program 10 high school students under the direction of Mark Dewar, and this group is located in the constituency of the Honourable Member for Fort Rouge. We welcome you here today. I would also like to draw the attention of all honourable members to the public gallery, where we have with us today from Thunderstruck Ag Equipment, Christy Duick, TJ Matayuski, and Bobby Matayuski, who are guests of the honourable member for Morden Winkler, and we welcome you here today. And further in the public gallery, we have with us today from the Manitoba Teachers Society, the Provincial Executive President, Lillian Clausen, and her team, and we welcome you here today. Oral questions. Oral questions. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
I rise to acknowledge National Day of Remembrance and Action on Violence Against Women. I was honored to attend the sunrise ceremony earlier this morning, honoring and acknowledging victims of gender-based violence. It's unfortunate that the Premier was not in attendance this morning, and it was duly noted. Now, Manitobans are using food banks at record levels. 50% of Manitobans say they're within $200 of being broke. And this Premier keeps talking about a 1.5 cent savings at the pump. Your average fuel tank at 50 liters, that means you save 75 cents. And this Premier thinks that's a huge accomplishment. That won't even buy you a can of soup. The Premier promised that he would lower grocery prices 2 years ago. I'm going to ask on behalf of all struggling Manitobans, Premier, why have you not fulfilled your promise to lower grocery prices?
Yeah, great question.
I would remind members to make sure they direct their questions through the chair. The Honourable First Minister.
Honourable Speaker, today is the opportunity at the Legislature to honour the solemn anniversary of the massacre at École Polytechnique, and I'm very honoured to serve alongside folks like Minister of Families and Wage, who was the host, as well as Cambria Harris, who was the MC, the daughter of Morgan Harris, and to work alongside Deputy Minister Amna Mackin. Now, when it comes to affordability, which is what the question at hand is about, the cut to the provincial gas tax put $350 million back in your pocket in the first year. When we're talking about health restored a renter's tax credit that was cut by the members opposite. And of course, under our watch, whereas they at the cabinet table signed off on an increase to the price of milk, we decreased the price of milk for the people of Manitoba. There's plenty more work to do, but we are focused on the
Time has expired. And if I could get the clock stopped for a minute. There's some more guests in the gallery that I want to make sure we acknowledge that they're here before they have to leave. We have seated in the gallery 13 grade 11 and 12 students from Rosenort School under the guidance of Connor Hopner from the constituency of Midland, and we welcome you here today. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition on a supplementary question.
The Premier is living in the past. Right now, he is touting a 1.5 cent savings at the pump as a victory for you. 75 cents won't even buy you a can of soup, and the Premier says he is making life, sadly, more affordable according to his math. Big flashy announcements with zero action by this Premier. 2 years later, and what does he say to help with grocery prices? We're going to launch another study. And I'll tell you right now, what is that study going to say? Grocery prices are up under this NDP government. Premier, the buck stops with you. You promised Manitobans you are going to lower the price. The Premier promised...
Order, please. Once again, I have to direct the member to make sure he's directing his questions through the chair. Order. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Honourable Speaker, the Premier said he was going to lower grocery prices. He threatened local grocery chains to lower prices. 2 years later, grocery prices are at record highs. What is the Premier going to do, or when is he actually going to fulfill one of his promises to make life more affordable for Manitobans?
Here, here.
The Honourable First Minister.
Well, when we came in office, we cut the provincial gas tax. Under them, inflation was 8%. 8% inflation, we cut it. It went back down to the Bank of Canada target range, and it's been there every single month since we took office. We also passed Bill 31 against the objections of everyone on the other side of the House. When that bill passed into law, there were 66 property controls in Manitoba. That prevented competition. That was a barrier to better grocery prices for you. There was a deadline this Monday for grocery chains to register these property controls. Guess how many there are now? 46. That means just by passing a law, we scared 20 grocery locations into having more competition in the market. Now, when it comes to the remaining 46 property controls, I've asked our Minister of Public Service Delivery to challenge every single one of them. We're in favor of competition and lower
Time
prices.
has expired. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition on a final supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, the Premier said it right there. He governs with fear, bullying, and toxicity, and making empty threats to Manitobans and free entrepreneurs here in Manitoba. Meat is up 47% in the last 2 years under this province. I guess Manitobans, more than half of Manitobans won't be having a turkey dinner to celebrate the holiday season because of this NDP. A new report from Manitoba Harvest states that roughly 60,000 Manitobans are using food banks every month, and that an estimated 6 out of 10 food bank users have some sort of post-secondary education. Manitoba Harvest goes on to say that the challenging that educational background of food banks users suggests that schooling is no longer a reliable pathway out of poverty. Under this NDP government, more Manitobans are using food banks than ever before. When will the Premier, Honourable Speaker, do something to make life more affordable for Manitobans and realize that saving 1.5 cents isn't enough?
Time has expired. The Honourable First Minister.
I was hoping he was going to do this, but I'll take this opportunity to shout out and thank the Manitoba Teachers Society. They were one of our crucial partners in designing the Universal School Food Program. Every single child in Manitoba gets food at school. That's how we're fighting food deserts. What did the members opposite do? They cut the milk program. I tabled the documents this week in the House. So let's review what it is that they stand for. We're bringing in a situation where Manitoba is the first province to have true competition in the grocery sector by knocking down property controls. They oppose competition. Yeah. We're the party of public safety. They oppose our measures on that side. We're the party of cutting taxes. They oppose us every single step of the way. They don't have any of the traditional conservative values. I guess that's why their leader is leading them down a path of attacking trans kids and attacking trans kids only.
Time has expired. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition on a new question.
Once again, the Premier does not have the courtesy or the respect to stand up and answer the question. Instead, he wants to put misinformation on there. He wants to mix issues, and he wants to mislead Manitobans on the reality of what's happening. And the reality of what's happening is that under this Premier, grocery prices are at record highs. Record number of Manitobans are visiting food banks, and now they are paying record number of taxes under this government. This Premier and NDP government raised your educational property taxes by $400 million. He thinks 75 cents is going to make up for that. The NDP is taxing you more than ever, and our economy in Manitoba is dead last in all of Canada. The government talks about trying to make life better, but in reality, everyone knows life is worse. Why has the Premier failed to improve the economic situation in Manitoba so Manitobans can thrive and not die under his government?
Here, here.
The Honourable First Minister.
No one died when the PCs were.
I want to table for the House these numbers from Stats Canada, which show that our GDP in Manitoba has been revised upward to 1.7%, which means that we're actually growing. And it's a result of you out there, the people of Manitoba, who are doing great work. Listen, when it comes to party policies, we're the party of cutting taxes. We cut the fuel tax, we cut income tax, we cut corporate taxes, we even cut the payroll tax. That's to put more money in your pockets. What have the members opposite been doing? First Premier under their watch ever fined by the Ethics Commissioner. First Deputy Premier ever fined by the Ethics Commissioner. Even their current colleague. I'll table these documents in case they want to know who it is exactly that I'm talking about. First sitting MLA ever fined by the Ethics Commissioner. Shame. Our member for Maples, another win he racked up today. On the other side of the House, it's L after leadership
The member's
L.
time has expired. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition on a supplementary question.
The Premier wants to talk about stats and facts. Well, let's talk about this. The first Premier on that in the history of Canada to have a DUI, this Premier. The first Premier to have 2 counts of aggravated assault, this Premier. The first Premier to comply with a court order, this Premier. And the first Premier to be charged with theft from a co-worker, this Premier, Honourable Speaker. When you want to talk about stats, 14% of Manitobans are working 2 or more jobs. 13.7% is the unemployment in this province. And that has decreased to 11.6% under this NDP government. It only keeps going up. He brags about job count, but in reality, thousands of jobs are leaving Manitoba. In October, the province suffered a net loss of 2,500 jobs under this NDP government. People are working more jobs to survive under this NDP government. Why is the Premier's solution for affordability? To take more money out of every paycheck, to tax you $400 million, and to make the cost of living go up in Manitoba.
Time has expired. The Honourable First Minister.
So again, we're the party of cutting taxes. We cut the gas tax, we cut corporate taxes, we cut payroll taxes, we even cut your income taxes. Now, the members opposite are just hating because I beat the brakes off of every single leader that they ever put up in question period. He's not the first, he won't be the last. Who's next? But when we're talking about you and the cost of living, I really do think you should know that while they're busy being fined by the Ethics Commissioner, And I'll table the documents, again, showing that their deputy premier, their current colleague from Red River North, were all fined for breaking our Constitution, the supreme law of the land.
Shame.
What is their leader up to? Well, I'll table this document that the person implicated in putting pressure on the former government of the PCs is a current year donor to the member opposite. So again, we're not talking about the past, we're talking about the current PC corruption, the most corrupt party in Canadian history.
Member's time
for
has
now.
expired. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition on a final supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, when it comes to crime and criminals in this province, you don't need to look any farther than this Premier. He has a DUI charge. He has 2 assaults for assaulting his partner. Assaulting his partner and dragging her across the floor, Honourable Speaker. This Premier has 2 charges. He has a charge for failing to attend court. He has a charge for aggravated assault, a charge for failing to comply with a court order. Honourable Speaker, the list goes on and on and on. No wonder crime is worse in this province under this criminal Premier. He doesn't want to make it better because he's a criminal himself, Honourable Speaker. He won't even answer the questions. I've asked him why is he making life more unaffordable for Manitobans. Why are grocery prices higher than they've ever been? Why is unemployment higher than it's ever been? And why are Manitobans fleeing the province more? Will the Premier stand up today and tell Manitobans why he, as a criminal, thinks he has all the answers to solve the crime in this province, but he has no idea what he's talking about?
Member's time has expired. Order, please. And I would remind members to use the proper names so that it's either the ministerial title or the constituency name when referring to other members. The Honourable First Minister.
Young ladies, I think I'm at the age.
The member opposite is unraveling in question period more quickly than his caucus staff is unraveling. Again, we go on LinkedIn yesterday and we see that his own caucus director contemplating, thinking about the future, posting philosophical quotes. Somebody who's worked in the caucus for 28 years also quoting Confucius, of all people, at all times. Again, and why is this? Perhaps because instead of choosing somebody who was good at question period, or choosing somebody who was good at politics, or somebody who was good at communication, or even somebody who would address the unethical behavior by a current member who was fined, according to the documents that I will now table, the PCs chose instead a self-proclaimed big guy. They'll keep focusing on themselves. We're going to keep focusing on you. Cheaper gas, cheaper rent, better economy,
Member's time
better
has expired. The Honourable Member for Brandon West. Order.
This Premier wants to talk about toxic leadership. How about he talks to the member from Fort Garry who made the comment he's dysfunctional and a toxic leader. This minister and his Premier have failed Manitobans yet again. Each and every day, more Manitobans are experiencing random violence because this Premier wrote checks with his mouth that his government could not cash. Repeat violent offenders are running rampant while this Premier gets shuttled around Manitoba under armed guards in the back of a police car. If this Premier is so confident in his Justice Minister, why does he need to be under police escort? Is it for his safety or just to reminisce?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Once again, Honourable Speaker, the member opposite not only discredits himself in this place as a member of this Legislative Assembly, but he discredits himself in his former role as a law enforcement officer. We won't do that, Honourable Speaker. We're going to work with law enforcement. We're going to start at a foundational level by ensuring that they have the funding and the resources to keep our streets safe. But we're going beyond that, Honourable Speaker. We're going to work with community. We're going to work even with the federal government if they're going to listen, Honourable Speaker. Every single person who wants to make this province safer, we're going to work with them. We won't work with members opposite.
That's right.
The honourable member for Brandon West on a supplementary question.
Under this minister, the murder rate has risen to historic levels. While the rest of the nation is reducing, this minister oversaw a 22% increase. While the minister was guarding himself against paper cuts answering Gary Dewar's phone, I was on the ground working with officers and experiencing the terrible realities of murder. The minister has done nothing but make things worse, and he must be content with his legacy to be the highest murder rate in Canada under this minister.
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Honourable Speaker, under the members opposite, under the failed PC government for 7.5 years, their record on homicides is clear. 2017, a 7.65% increase. In 2018, 15.6% increase. In 2019, 33% increase. In 2022, a 43% increase in homicides in this province. The former Minister of Justice sits there quietly. He won't defend his record because he knows under the PCs, crime was getting worse. Under our government, we're starting to turn the corner. We're making our communities safe.
The honourable member for Brandon.
This minister talks provincial stats, not national stats. He's on a national level. This minister blames everyone but himself for the increase in violent crimes.
Order.
Manitobans are experiencing more violence in the workplace, more violence in the community, and under this minister's watch, they are less safe. The minister has failed to do his job at every step, and he's the Minister of Justice. He is the only one responsible. This minister is all sizzle, no steak. But with the meat prices here in this province, this minister is more akin to a can of Spam. Since he won't do anything about safety, will the minister resign today and let someone else in his caucus address this government's constant failures on the safety of Manitobans?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
This is very worrisome, Honourable Speaker, because the member opposite was a chief of police in the province of Manitoba. He would have been privy to these numbers that were provided to law enforcement year over year increase in crime in his city across this province. Those are the Manitoba numbers, and yet he stood silent when members opposite cut funding to law enforcement across this province. That is a shameful record. We're not going back to the record of members opposite. We're in the future where we're starting to see the crime stats are coming down only because we work with law enforcement and work with community partners. That's the way that our government approaches. We're going to work together. We're going to make things better.
The Honourable Member for Roblin.
2025 has been a very tough year for healthcare in Manitoba. Yep. In January, Manitobans were waiting 14 weeks longer for hip and knee surgery than they were a year earlier. In February, Chad Giffen tragically passed away in the waiting room at Health Sciences Centre. In March, this minister rolled out disastrous changes to home care against the advice of frontline workers that have resulted in chaos, thousands of missed and cancelled visits, and a still unresolved backlog. In April, Manitobans in the Southern Health Region were waiting 15 weeks longer for an MRI than they were a year earlier. What? Why does this NDP government continue pretending everything is fine when in fact things are getting so much worse under their watch?
Hear, hear. Hear, hear.
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Honourable Speaker, I welcome the opportunity to talk about what our government is doing to fix the monumental damage done to healthcare by the previous PC government. We were happy to share yesterday that we have brought back the virtual ward. The virtual ward was something that we saw work really well during COVID.
Order.
But, Honourable Speaker, unfortunately, despite the virtual ward having great success for Manitobans, the previous government made the decision to cut the virtual ward, to the dismay of Manitobans. No worries, we've brought it back, and it's already adding more bed days to our system across the province. I'll share more about the virtual ward when I answer the next question.
Good job.
The honourable member for Roblin on a supplementary question.
In May, hundreds of nurses rallied here at the Legislature to protest this NDP government's empty, broken promises, giving this NDP government a D- grade. In June, Doctors Manitoba warned Manitobans to expect unstable rural ER services over the summer, noting that Brandon, Boundary Trails and Steinbach were experiencing high physician vacancies and people should expect long waits for care. In July, 3 staff members were sexually assaulted on and around the HSC campus.
Wow.
Unfortunately, this was just one of a series of terrifying assaults on healthcare workers in Manitoba this year. In August, Manitoba nurses voted to greylist the Health Sciences Centre, a very serious move that hasn't happened since the last time the NDP were in government.
Wow.
When will this minister finally quit with the blame game and take some responsibility for their own failure?
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Honourable Speaker, I'll stop blaming the PCs when they start taking responsibility. Yeah, that's right. Honourable Speaker, the PCs cut the virtual ward. We're bringing it back. It's delivering better care for Manitobans. The PCs cut and closed ERs. We're bringing them back to deliver better care for Manitobans. The PCs cut and fired nurses. We're bringing them back and hiring record numbers of them. The PCs cut beds from the healthcare system. We're bringing them back fully staffed, adding care to the healthcare system. Honourable Speaker, what they cut, we add. What they destroyed, we're fixing.
The honourable member for Roblin on a final supplementary question.
The facts tell a completely different story. In September, median emergency wait times hit an all-time high at more than 4 hours, with 90th percentile wait times 3 times that length. Wow. In October, Brandon was left without general on-call coverage, forcing patients in emergencies to travel to Dauphin or Winnipeg. In November, nurses voted to greylist Thompson General Hospital, the first time in history that 2 major hospitals have been greylisted at the same time. Also in November, Genevieve Price tragically passed away after waiting 30 hours on a stretcher for the health care she needed. And it's now December, and the number of people waiting in hospital for personal care home placement is more than double what it was when the NDP took office. Will the minister commit today to finally stop making healthcare worse in 2026?
The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Honourable Speaker, in the spirit of the holiday season, I'll talk about the gifts we're giving Manitobans. I'm going to start with Lactabani. We are gifting the community of Lactabani and the MLA for Lactabani.
Order, please. Order, please. I need to be able to hear what's being said, and right now I cannot. So I would ask members to calm down so that I can hear the questions and the answers. The Honourable Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care.
Honourable Speaker, in the spirit of the holiday season, we're giving some healthcare gifts out to Manitobans, and I'll start with Lactabani. The member for Lactabani is getting a new personal care home in his community. Honourable Speaker, folks living in the south end of the city are going to see a new ER return. The Victoria ER is being reopened. Honourable Speaker, just like the Grinch, the PC stole hundreds of beds from the healthcare system, and we're adding back 450 beds to the healthcare system, a gift that keeps on giving.
Member's time has expired. The Honourable Member for Lactabani.
Speaker, I'd like to also welcome the representatives from Manitoba Teacher Society here today in the gallery to watch the crazy show that's happening put on by the government. Honourable Speaker, 25 years of students, social insurance numbers, passport numbers, healthcare numbers, personal health information, 20 years of staff, name, date of birth, contact information, provincial health numbers, financial account numbers. This info is out there forever, Honourable Speaker. Does the minister think 36 months of credit monitoring is sufficient?
The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And firstly, I would like to say a really big thank you to the administration, the divisional leadership, the school board, the teachers, the staff at Pembina Trail School Division for the way that they have managed and guided their school community through this terrible security incident. We thank them very much for their report and all of the many, many steps that they have taken to protect their school community and their school community's information. The fact of the matter is, Honourable Speaker, that after 7.5 years of having their operational funding frozen by the previous PC government, by having school budgets frozen, schools were not able to invest in many things, including cybersecurity. Thankfully, after 7.5 years,
expired. The honourable member for Lac du Bonny on a supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, an expert says, and I quote, a privacy expert says, and I quote, she's not seen a breach elsewhere in Canada that matches the scale of the Pembina Trails School Division's debacle. Honourable Speaker, end quote. This minister is nowhere to be found, except she does get up and say, well, there's nothing we can do. It's going to get out there. So it is what it is. She said that in a local paper not that long ago, Honourable Speaker. So I'm asking the minister today,
Order.
What is being done to ensure the data is safe for other Manitobans and throughout other school divisions, Honourable Speaker?
The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Unlike the members opposite, we like to work with our sector partners. We stand with the Pembina Trails School Division, we stand with the Manitoba School Boards Association, and we stand with the Manitoba Teachers Society in addressing all the issues that are affecting our schools. I'm happy to announce that the Pembina Trails School Division has just recently completed their investigation and their probe into this cybersecurity incident. They've produced a report. They have taken excellent steps in communicating with their school community about how they are going to protect their students and their school community and how they're going to prevent this from happening in the future. I'm very glad to update this House and all of Manitoba that for the first time in the history of Manitoba, under the leadership of our Premier, we have now a Minister of Innovation and New Technology that is working not just with school divisions, but across...
The honourable member for Lac du Bonny on a final supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, the students are going to be retired by the time they clear off all that information that this minister has lost throughout the World Wide Web. And as we listen to the member for River Heights, it's on somebody's computer somewhere, Honourable Speaker, and that's his quote. Honourable Speaker, I don't know what the minister's talking about, standing up with the Manitoba Teachers Society or whatever else. Couldn't even be bothered to get out there and take a picture with them today, Honourable Speaker. So she cancelled the modernization of data services throughout school divisions. So why is safeguarding student data such a low priority for this minister and the Canoe government?
The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And absolutely securing the data of information of our students and our staff is of utmost priority. But did you notice, Honourable Speaker, on a day where we have a delegation from the Manitoba Teachers Society, how disappointing from the education critic? Not a question about absenteeism, not a question about literacy, not a question about school nutrition, for example, Honourable Speaker. Just this week, we have produced our report on the annual report on the school nutrition program developed in partnership with our incredible sector partners. Let's read a little bit. Do you know what, Honourable Speaker? Do you know why Manitobans can trust the NDP on school policy? We have 9 educators in our caucus. We have 2 trustees in our caucus.
The member's time has expired. Order. Order. The honourable member for Morton Winkler.
Honourable Speaker, recent data from Harvest Manitoba shines a very different light on the NDP's talking points about affordability. The heartbreaking truth is that last year, 62% of families relying on food banks went hungry at least once a month. 24% of food bank users don't own a car. How does the minister justify promoting a gas tax holiday as an affordability measure to a single parent or to the many Manitobans who don't even have the means to purchase a car to save the tax?
Good question.
The Honourable Minister of Families.
Which, Honourable Speaker, the member opposite may not recall because she wasn't in the chamber at this time, but there was several years that when...
Order, please. Order, please. I would just remind members not to comment on whether members are present or absent in the chamber. The Honourable Minister of Families.
Honourable Speaker, let me just correct that. What I was saying is that the member wasn't yet elected. But those of us on this side of the House will remember that year after year after year, whether it was Brian Pallister or Heather Stephenson or any of the myriad of failed ministers, we routinely lobbied the government, the failed government at the time, for a universal school nutrition program. And what did members opposite do? They said no.
The Honourable Member for Morden Winkler on a supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, to quote a Manitoban who spoke publicly, I actually haven't used a food bank for close to 20 years. I was doing fine on my own, not struggling to keep my family fed, but I just signed up for one today, end quote. Manitobans are worse off, and there is no affordability plan. Why does the minister refuse to see things are getting worse under this NDP government?
The Honourable Minister of Families.
So while Brian Pallister and Heather Stephenson and a bunch of their members routinely blamed and shamed families that were struggling for not feeding their children on the way to school, our government stands with families and we support children with the Universal School Nutrition Program. And our amazing Minister of Education yesterday tabled a report that showed 632 public schools offering at least one meal program with an average of 93,000 children accessing meals and snacks daily. I table that for the House. That's more than 30 million meals and snacks provided overall.
Member's time has expired. The Honourable Member for Morden Winkler on a final supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, families with young children are returning to food banks more and more. Harvest Manitoba has highlighted that 91% of families cannot afford to consistently make healthy choices when shopping. Parents want to buy healthy food for their kids, but they are forced to make hard choices at the store. Why has this minister refused to find solutions and help parents to afford food for their families rather than forcing them to go to a food bank?
The Honourable Minister of Families.
The other thing that community and members on this side of the chamber asked for years and years and years, and Brian Pallister and Heather Stephenson didn't care about, we talked about doubling the prenatal benefit so that we're giving the best start to Manitobans who are pregnant. Oh, who doubled the benefit? That would be our government that doubled the benefit. Not only that, we're also strengthening disability supports by ensuring that no federal disability benefits are clawed back. We supported over $1,000 a year for families with our true $10 a day daycare. Something, again, members opposite didn't care about, because at the end of the day, they don't care about families. They don't care about a strong Manitoba.
The Honourable Member for Tyndall Park.
Honourable Speaker, teaching is arguably one of the most important professions in our world today. Without teachers, we would not have doctors, lawyers, musicians, business people, or even politicians for that matter. Teachers are compassionate, nurturing, dedicated people who care deeply about the success and well-being of their students. Earlier today, I had the pleasure of meeting with members of the Manitoba's Teachers Society, and they explained how they feel undervalued. Honourable Speaker, the government claims to have increased spending in schools, but the teachers say that they are not seeing it. Can the government share, in front of those who have joined us today in the galleries, what these supposed funds have specifically been used towards?
The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And again, we welcome very much the delegation from the Manitoba Teachers Society Provincial Executive, led by their president and their executive director. Our caucus also had the pleasure of meeting with them today and hearing about their many concerns. And we're happy to meet with them at their leisure. I also, as minister, have another meeting with the organization next week so that we can hear and listen directly from teachers. For too many years, teachers did not have a relationship with government. In fact, Honourable Speaker, if you wonder why we have so many educators on this side of the House, it is because of the 7.5 years under the previous government. Teachers couldn't take it any longer and had to leave the profession to come into this chamber to finally get some change.
Time has expired. The Honourable Member for Tyndall Park on a supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, with the workloads of teachers increasing, they, like many healthcare workers, are getting frustrated and facing burnouts at high rates. We're hearing stories where some are counting the days to retirement and others are leaving the profession within their first 5 years. Teachers are constantly being asked and expected to do more with less. This government said they've hired 800 teachers, but again, those who have joined us today, teachers from across Manitoba, have said that they've yet to see this in action. Can the government share if these supposed 800 new teachers are only positions, or are they actually teaching?
The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you to the member opposite for this opportunity to get up and laud the incredible profession of teachers. And she's not wrong that for many years teachers were leaving the profession. That is the truth. Teachers, at the time that we were elected, were working without a contract. Let's not forget, Honourable Speaker, working without a contract. Our government was elected, came to the table, negotiated a fair and free collective bargaining agreement with the teachers that we are very proud to do. We are grateful for the work that they do every day, and we're grateful in partnership with school divisions to have been able to hire 832 brand new teachers since taking government in 2023. Honourable Speaker, do not get me wrong. Much more work to do. It is true that we ask more of teachers every single day. Thank you to the teachers that...
The Honourable Member for Tyndall Park on a final supplementary question.
Honourable Speaker, teachers need to have some autonomy relating to their ability to teach and connect with students. However, oftentimes, instead of being able to do this, teachers are being backed into corners, facing backlash, rather than being able to teach what is in their curriculum. Teachers are becoming increasingly nervous as to what they can teach because of disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation. Funding for professional development is crucial to a teacher's ongoing need to keep up and keep ahead of societal trends and the needs of their students. Can the government confirm that the money allocated towards professional development actually goes towards professional development and is not reallocated to other budget lines?
The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Order. The Honourable Minister of Education and Early Childhood Learning.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and again, thank you to the member opposite for this important question, which, quite frankly, I've forgotten half of it because the members opposite decided to clap for so long, but that's great. Let's clap for teachers. Let's keep clapping for teachers, Honourable Speaker. And yes, the member brings up an issue that the MTS delegation brought up with our caucus. I'm happy to continue on that conversation next week. Let's talk about one of the biggest investments we've made in schools, something that's making a difference in the lives of both students and teachers, and that's our Universal School Nutrition Program. Let's hear directly from a principal from Thunderwood Schools at South Indian Lake from Frontier School Division. Due to the remoteness of South Indian Lake, the cost of ensuring a well-balanced breakfast program has been difficult in the past due to the lack of funding. We were limited as what we could serve. For the past 2 years, we've been able to provide a wider variety of fruit and breakfast.
Order. The time for question period is also expired, and I have a statement for the House. The Speaker is still standing. The House is expected to adjourn later today for our winter break. and the Youth Parliament will again be using the chamber to hold their legislative sessions. This is a friendly reminder to please remove the contents of your desks before you leave the chamber today. I would encourage everyone to please recycle as much of the material as possible. Any material you would like to recycle may be placed in the larger recycling containers in both of the message rooms located just outside the chamber. The big blue bins here inside the chamber are designated for recycling copies of Hansard only, as these can be reused by the Hansard and the Legislative Library. Thank you. Orders of the day, government business, the Honourable Government House Leader.
On House business or
the Honourable Government House Leader on House business.
Huh?
All right, we're still in routine proceedings. Government business, the Honourable Government House Leader on House business.
Perfect. I would like to announce the Standing Committee on Legislative Affairs will meet Tuesday, December 16th, 2025 at 10 a.m. to consider the following: the annual report of the Manitoba Advocate for Children and Youth for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2025. I would like to announce the Standing Committee on Legislative Affairs will meet Thursday, December 11th, 2025 at 1 p.m. to consider the following: annual report of Elections Manitoba for the year ending December 31st, 2024. I would like to announce the Standing Committee on Crown Corporations will meet Tuesday, January 20th, 2026 at 9 a.m. to consider the following: annual report of the Manitoba Liquor and Lotteries Corporation for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2025. I would like to announce the Standing Committee on Crown Corporations will meet on Tuesday, January 20th, 2026 at 1 p.m. to consider the following: annual report of the Manitoba Hydroelectric Board for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2025. I would like to announce the Standing Committee on Crown Corporations will meet Thursday, January 22nd, 2026 at 9 a.m. to consider the following: annual report for Efficiency Manitoba for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2025. I would like to announce the Standing Committee on Crown Corporations will meet on Thursday, January 22nd, 2026 at 1 p.m. to consider the following: annual report for the Manitoba Public Insurance Corporation for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2025. I would like to announce the Standing Committee on Legislative Affairs will meet Tuesday, January 27th, 2026 at 9 a.m. to consider the following: the annual report of the Manitoba Seniors Advocate dated November 28th, 2025. I would like to announce the Standing Committee on Crown Corporations will meet Tuesday, January 27th, 2026 at 1 p.m. to consider the following: annual report of the Manitoba Centennial Centre Corporation for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2025.
It has been announced that the Standing dispense. The Honourable Member for Steinbach.
Honourable Speaker, I'd like to announce that the Standing Committee on Public Accounts will meet on Tuesday, January 13th, 2026 at 1 p.m. to consider the following: the Auditor General's report, Efficiency of Court Services for Provincial Court of Manitoba dated July 2023. And also I'd like to announce that the Standing Committee on Public Accounts will meet on Tuesday, January 13th, 2026 at 3:30 p.m. to consider the following: the Auditor General's report preparing incarcerated individuals for transition from custody dated March 20, 2025.
It has been announced that the Standing Committee on Public Accounts dispense. We will now move on to petitions. The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Honourable Speaker, I wish to present the following petition. To the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba, the background to this petition is as follows. Number one, Children with disabilities often require childcare beyond the age of 12. Children with disabilities aged 12 to 17 face a gap in publicly available care programs. Number two, the current adolescent care service model creates undue hardship on caregivers. Number three, while developing children may be entering into extracurricular activities, school clubs, or spending time with friends independently, children with disabilities have reduced opportunities for such social and recreational opportunities due to the lack of spaces. Number four, the current self-managed adolescent care models place additional workloads onto already stressed families, requiring parents to seek all alternative options and prove their need for care. Number five, the current adolescent care system, as part of overall respite and supports available to families, is failing families of children with disabilities, as identified in the Manitoba Advocate for Children and Youth's Bridging the Gaps report. Number six, to date, none of the 9 recommendations it contains have been completed beyond 50%.
Shame.
Number 7, the recommendations in this report touch on many of the issues facing families, with adolescent care being but a small component of their overall needs.
Wow.
We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number 1, to urge the provincial government to fully implement recommendations in the Bridging the Gaps report. Number 2, to urge the provincial government to immediately implement official policies and procedures that are more respectful and collaborative, which also minimize harm faced by families seeking help from Children's Disability Services. And number 3, Honorable Speaker, we urge the Ministers of Families to arrange for a full review of employment supports provided by Children's Disability Services for children with disabilities aged 12 to 17, including direct consultation with impacted families, and to explore a full spectrum of options to support families, empowering them to choose solutions that best fit their needs. Honorable Speaker, this petition was signed by Georgia Wells, Sydney Maglagus, and Jeremy Martin.
Yeah.
This has been signed by many other Manitobans as well. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Here, here.
No further petitions. The Honourable Member for Red River North.
Honourable Speaker, I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, thanks to the investment made under the previous PC provincial government as part of the Clinical and Preventative Services Plan, construction for the new Portage Regional Health Facility is well underway. The facility and surrounding community would greatly benefit from added diagnostic machinery and equipment, but specifically to the addition of an MRI machine. Number 2, an MRI machine is a non-invasive medical imaging technique that uses a magnetic field and computer-generated radio waves to create detailed images of organs and tissues in the human body. It is used for disease detection, diagnosis, and treatment monitoring. Number 3, Portage-La Prairie is centrally located in Manitoba and is on the number 1 highway in the Southern Health Santé Sud Health Authority. Currently, there is only one MRI machine in the RHA. Number 4, an MRI machine located in the Portage-La Prairie Regional Health in the Portage Regional Health Facility will reduce transportation costs for patients, as well as reduce the burden on stretcher service and ambulance use. It will bring care closer to home and reduce wait times for MRI scans across the province. Number 5, located around Portage La Prairie are the Dakota Teepee, Dakota Plains, Sandy Bay, and Long Plains First Nations. Indigenous peoples in Canada disproportionately face barriers in access to services and medical care. An MRI machine located in the Portage Regional Health Facility will bring care closer to their home communities and provide greater access to diagnostic testing. Number 6, located in close proximity to the Portage Regional Health Facility is the Southport Airport. This aerodrome has a runway length that is more than adequate to support medical air ambulance services. This would provide the opportunity to transport patients by air from more remote communities to access MRI imaging services. Number 7, the average wait times for Manitobans to receive an MRI scan is currently 6 to 8 months. Having an MRI machine in the Portage Regional Health Facility will help reduce these wait times for patients and provide better care sooner. Honorable Speaker, we petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to support the investment and placement of an MRI machine in the Portage Regional Health Facility in Portage La Prairie, Manitoba. This petition is signed by Gary Davis, Henry Rideau, Marilyn Chopinski, and many, many more Manitobans. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The honourable member for Borderland.
Honourable Speaker, I wish to present the following petition. To the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba, these are the reasons for this petition. Number 1, persons struggling with mental health as their sole condition may access medical assistance in dying unless Parliament intervenes. Number 2, suicidality is often a symptom of mental illness, and suicide is the second leading cause of death for Canadians between the age of 10 and 19. Number 3, there have been reports of the unsolicited introduction of medical assistance in dying to non-seeking persons, including Canadian veterans, as a solution for their medical and mental health issues. Number 4, legal and medical experts are deeply concerned that permitting Canadians suffering from depression and other mental illnesses to access euthanasia would undermine suicide prevention efforts and risk normalizing suicide as a solution for those suffering from mental illness. Number 5, the federal government is bound by the Charter of Rights and Freedoms to advance and protect the life, liberty, and security of its citizens. Number 6, Manitobans consider it a priority to ensure that adequate supports are in place for the mental health of all Canadians. Number 7, vulnerable Manitobans must be given suicide prevention counseling instead of suicide assistance. Number 8, the federal government should focus on increasing mental health supports to provinces and improve access to these supports instead of offering medical assistance in dying for those with mental illness. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number 1, to urge the provincial government to lobby the federal government to stop the expansion of medical assistance in dying to those for whom mental illness is the sole condition. And number 2, to urge the provincial government to lobby the federal government to protect Canadians struggling with mental illness by facilitating treatment, recovery, and medical assistance in living, not death. This petition has been signed by Lisa Sawatsky, Susan Peters, Rachel Hildebrand, and many, many Manitobans.
The honourable member for La Vérendrye.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. 1. Provincial Road 210, PR 210, is a 117.3 kilometer, 72.8 mile highway in the Eastman region of Manitoba that connects the towns and communities of Woodridge, Marchand, Brokery, St. Anne, Landmark, Linden, Ile-des-Chênes, and St. Adolphe. 2. A significant portion of PR 210 also runs through the constituency of La Vérendrye. 3. PR 210 is a significant commuting route for Eastman families and is also notably used by those in the agriculture, tourism, trade, and commerce industries. 4. The condition of PR 210 from Woodridge to Highway 12 is in an unacceptable state of disrepair. 5. The planned pavement upgrade was promised more than 20 years ago when it was constructed with a flat surface suitable for pavement, but has yet to be completed. 6. The condition of PR 210 from Woodridge to Highway 12 is in such bad shape that firefighters, police, and paramedic services are severely delayed when responding to emergencies. 7. The Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure, as well as the Premier, have a duty to respond to infrastructure needs identified by rural communities. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. 1. To urge the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure to prioritize the reconstruction of Provincial Road 210. 2. To urge the provincial government to include the stretch of Provincial Road 210 from Woodridge to Highway 12 in its reconstruction plans. This petition has been signed by Michelle Machon, Russell Rudy, Joanne Hora, and many, many other Manitobans.
The Honourable Member for Agassiz.
I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, children with disabilities often require childcare beyond the age of 12. Children with disabilities aged 12 to 17 face a gap in publicly available care programs. Number 2, the current adolescent care service model creates undue hardship on caregivers. Number 3, while developing children may be entering into extracurricular activities, school clubs, or spending time with friends independently, children with disabilities have reduced opportunities for such social and recreational opportunities due to the lack of spaces. Number 4, the current self-managed adolescent care models place additional workloads onto already stressed families, requiring parents to seek all alternative options and prove their need for care. Number 5, the current adolescent care system, as part of overall respite and support available to families, is failing families of children with disabilities, as identified in the Manitoba Advocate for Children and Youth's Bridging the Gaps report. Number 6, to date, none of the 9 recommendations it contains have been completed beyond 50%. Number 7, the recommendations in this report touch on many of the issues facing families, with adolescent care being but a small component of their overall needs. We petition the Legislative Assembly as follows. 1, to urge the provincial government to fully implement recommendations in the Bridging the Gaps report. 2, to urge the provincial government to immediately implement official policies and procedures that are more respectful and collaborative, which also minimize harm faced by families seeking help from Children's Disability Services. Number 3, to urge the Minister of Families to arrange for a full review of employment supports provided by Children's Disability Services for children with disabilities aged 12 to 17, including direct consultation with impacted families, and to explore a full spectrum of options to support families, empowering them to choose solutions that best fit their needs. This petition has been signed by Calvin Mellier, Kingsley Hart, and Roger Mellier, and many, many more Manitobans.
The Honourable Member for Lakeside.
Thank you, Honourable Assistant Deputy Speaker. I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba, and the background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, thanks to the investment made under the previous PC provincial government as part of the Clinical and Preventative Services Plan, construction for the new Portage Regional Health Facility is well underway. The facility and surrounding community would greatly benefit from added diagnostic machinery and equipment, but specifically the addition of an MRI machine. Number 2, an MRI machine is a non-invasive medical imaging technique that uses a magnetic field and computer-generated radio waves to create detailed images of organs and tissues in the human body. It is used for disease detection, diagnosis, and treatment monitoring. Number 3, Portage La Prairie is centrally located in Manitoba and is on the number 1 highway in the Southern Health Santé Sud Health Authority. Currently, there is only one MRI machine in the RHA. Number 4, an MRI machine located in the Portage Regional Health Facility will reduce transportation costs for patients, as well as reduce the burden on stretcher service and ambulance use. It will bring care closer to home and reduce wait times for MRI scans across the province. Number 5. Located around Portage-La Prairie are the Dakota Teepee, Dakota Plains, Sandy Bay, and Long Plains First Nations reserves. Indigenous peoples in Canada disproportionately face barriers in access to services and medical care. An MRI machine located in the Portage Regional Health Facility will bring care closer to their home communities and provide greater access to diagnostic testing. Number 6. Located in close proximity to the new Portage Regional Health Facility is the Southport Airport. This aerodrome has a runway length that is more than adequate to support medical air ambulance services. This would provide the opportunity to transport patients by air from more remote communities to access MRI imaging services. Number 7. The average wait times for Manitobans to receive an MRI scan is currently 6 to 8 months. Having an MRI machine in the Portage Regional Health Facility will help reduce these wait times for patients and provide better care sooner. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to support the investment and placement of an MRI machine in the Portage Regional Health Facility in Portage-La Prairie, Manitoba. This petition has been signed by Sheila Graham, Jerry Wazlowski, and Peggy Larson, and many, many more Manitobans. Thank you, Honourable Assistant Deputy Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Interlake Gimli.
Thank you, Honourable Assistant Deputy Speaker. I wish to present the following petition. To the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. 1. Children with disabilities often require childcare beyond the age of 12. Children with disabilities aged 12 to 17 face a gap in publicly available care programs. 2. The current adolescent care service model creates undue hardship on caregivers. 3. While developing children may be entering into extracurricular activities, school clubs, or spending time with friends independently, children with disabilities have reduced opportunities for such social and recreational opportunities due to the lack of spaces. 4. The current self-managed adolescent care models place additional workloads onto already stressed families, requiring parents to seek alternative options to prove their needs for care. 5. The current adolescent care system, as a part of overall respite and support available to families, is failing families of children with disabilities, as identified in the Manitoba Advocate for Children and Youth Bridging the Gaps report. 6. To date, none of the 9 recommendations it contains have been completed beyond 50%. 7. The recommendations in this report touch on many of the issues facing families, with adolescent care being but a small component of their overall needs. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. 1. To urge the provincial government to fully implement recommendations in the Bridging the Gaps report. 2. To urge the provincial government to immediately implement official policies and procedures that are more respectful and collaborative, with which also minimize harm faced by families seeking help from children with disability services. 3, to urge the Minister of Families to arrange for a full review of employment supports provided by Children's Disability Services for children with disabilities aged 12 to 17, including direct consultation with impacted families, and to explore a full spectrum of options to support families, empowering them to choose solutions that best fit their needs. This petition was signed by Michael Ladarne, Aaron Jansen-Plett, Duncan Hamilton, and many, many other fine Manitobans.
The honourable member for Turtle Mountain.
Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker. I'd like to present this petition to the Legislative Assembly as follows. The background of this petition is as follows. Number 1, thanks to the investment made under the previous PC provincial government as part of the Clinical and Preventive Services Plan, construction of a new Portage Regional Health Facility is well underway. The facility and the surrounding community works greatly benefit from added diagnostic machinery and equipment, but significantly the addition to an MRI machine. Number 2, an MRI machine is a non-invasive medical imaging technique that is used to magnetic fields and computer-generated radio waves to create detailed images of organs, tissues in the human body. It is used to disease detection, diagnosis, and treatment monitoring. Number 3, Portage Prairie is centrally located in Manitoba and is on the number 1 highway in Southern Health, Santé Sud Health Authority. Currently, there is only one MRI machine in the RHA. Number 4, an MRI machine located at Portage Regional Health Facility will reduce transportation costs for patients as well as reduce the burden on stretcher services and ambulance use. It will bring care closer to home and reduce wait times for MRI scans across the province. Number 5, located around Portage Prairie are the Dakota Teepee, Dakota Plains, Sandy Bay, and Long Plains First Nation reserves. Indigenous people of Canada disproportionately faces barriers in access to services and medical care. An MRI machine located in Portage Regional Health Facility will bring care closer to their home communities and provide greater access to diagnostic testing. Number 6, located close proximity to the new Portage Regional Health Facility is the Southport Airport. An aerodrome has a runway length that is more adequate to support medical air ambulance services. This would provide the opportunity to transport patients by air from more remote communities to access MRI imaging services. Number 7, the average wait time for Manitobans to receive an MRI scan is currently 6 to 8 weeks. Having an MRI machine in Portage Prairie Regional Health Facility will help reduce these wait times for patients and provide better care sooner. We petitioned the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to support the investment and replacement of an MRI machine in the Portage Regional Health Facility in Portage Prairie, Manitoba. This has been signed by Sally Williams, Sandra Sharp, Linda Nichols, and many, many other Manitobans.
The member for Lac Du Bonny.
Thank you, Honourable Acting Deputy Speaker. I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba, and these are the reasons for this petition. Number one, the Winnipeg. The Winnipeg River Planning District, in its proposed development plan, open bracket bylaw 83/25 close bracket, is lifting a moratorium on new cottage development on the Bird River in the rural municipality of Alexander. Number two, multiple studies, including but not limited to the 1977 Bird River Sector Plan by Westland Planning Consultants that was reaffirmed in the 2008 BRCO survey results by Lombard North Group, concluded that the river had already exceeded its safe carrying capacity. These studies highlighted overcrowding, boating conflicts, and environmental pressures that would only worsen with further development. Number three, shoreline development and deforestation risks accelerating habitat loss of at-risk animal, bird, and fish species, shoreline erosion, and water quality decline. These impacts will extend beyond the Bird River into Lac du Bonnet and the Winnipeg River system. Number four, the claim made by the Winnipeg River Planning District that rising boat numbers on Bird River prove the moratorium has, in quotation, failed, is deeply flawed. In reality, the moratorium has been effective in preventing even greater overcrowding. Number five, there has been a complaint registered with the Office of the Ombudsman surrounding the process by which the public hearing on September 11th, 2025 was conducted. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the Minister of Municipal and Northern Relations to prevent the lifting of the development moratorium on Bird River proposed by the Winnipeg River Planning District. Honorable Acting Deputy Speaker, this petition is signed by Elizabeth Natchik, Paul DeRoe, Wayne Karwacki, and many more fine Manitobans.
The member for Portage La Prairie.
Thank you, Honorable Acting Deputy Speaker. I wish to present the following petition. The background of this petition is as follows. The province of Manitoba has filed paperwork with the federal government proposing the establishment of a drug injection site for illegal drugs at 200 Disraeli Freeway without sufficient public consultation. Number two, the decision to locate the facility at 200 Disraeli was made despite that the site is located in the immediate vicinity of a daycare center, a high school, and multiple community gathering sites, including churches and cultural institutions. Number three, residents, business owners, and community organizations have raised concerns that the location is incompatible with nearby institutions serving thousands of youth and families, and believe it will erode public safety and confidence in the area. Number four, existing community consultation specifically ignored concerns about public safety and were criticized by community members for being artificial and scripted. Number five, the provincial government has failed to introduce legislation and regulations to control where drug injection sites can be located. Number six, other provinces are closing drug injection sites and adopting a recovery model, following the expertise of groups such as the Canadian Centre of Recovery Excellence. Number seven, This decision to ignore the experts will leave people suspended in addiction and will not give Manitobans their lives or their loved ones back. Number 8, the provincial government has failed to fund and operate any treatment or additional rapid access to addictions medicine clinics to break this cycle. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. Number 1, to urge the provincial government to cancel drug injection sites in the Point Douglas community, including the proposed location at 200 Disraeli Freeway. Number 2, to urge the provincial government to legislate that no further site will be proposed without community support. This has been signed by Jim Lopez, Connie Broom, Manuel Pimento, and many, many more Manitobans.
The member for Brandon West.
I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Thanks to the investment made under the previous PC provincial government as part of the Clinical and Preventative Services Plan, construction for the new Portage Regional Health Facility is well underway. The facility and surrounding community would greatly benefit from added diagnostic machinery and equipment, but specifically the addition of an MRI machine. Number 2, an MRI machine is a non-invasive medical imaging technique that uses a magnetic field and computer-generated radio waves to create detailed images of organs and tissues in the human body. It is used for disease detection, diagnosis, and treatment monitoring. Number 3, Portage La Prairie is centrally located in Manitoba and is on the number 1 highway in the Southern Health Santé Sud Health Authority. Currently, there is only 1 MRI machine in the RHA. Number 4, an MRI machine located in the Portage Regional Health Facility will reduce transportation costs for patients, as well as reduce the burden on stretcher services and ambulance use. It will bring care closer to home and reduce wait times for MRI scans across the province. Number 5, located around Portage La Prairie are the Dakota Teepee, Dakota Plains, Sandy Bay, and Long Plains First Nations reserves. Indigenous peoples in Canada disproportionately face barriers in access to services and medical care. An MRI machine located in the Portage Regional Health Facility will bring care closer to their home communities and provide greater access to diagnostic testing. Number 6, located in close proximity to the new Portage Regional Health Facility is the Southport Airport. This aerodrome has a runway length that is more than adequate to support medical air ambulance services. This would provide the opportunity to transport patients by air from more remote communities to access MRI imaging services. Number 7, the average wait times for Manitobans to receive an MRI scan is currently 6 to 8 months. Having an MRI machine in the Portage Regional Health Facility will help reduce these wait times for patients and provide better care sooner. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to support the investment and placement of an MRI machine in the Portage Regional Health Facility in Portage La Prairie, Manitoba. This petition has been signed by Brent Kaster, Virginia Lee, Thomas Hahn, and many, many other fine Manitobans.
The member for Morden Winkler.
Honorable Speaker, I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Number 1, the province of Manitoba has filed paperwork with the federal government proposing the establishment of a drug injection site for illegal drugs at 200 Disraeli Freeway without sufficient public consultation. Number 2, the decision to locate the facility at 200 Disraeli was made despite that the site is located in the immediate vicinity of a daycare center, a high school, and multiple community gathering sites, including churches and multicultural institutions. Number 3, residents, business owners, and community organizations have raised concerns that the location is incompatible with nearby institutions serving thousands of youth and families, and believe it will erode public safety and confidence in the area. Number 4, existing community consultations specifically ignored concerns about public safety and were criticized by community members for being artificial and scripted. Number 5, the provincial government has failed to introduce legislation and regulations to control where drug injection sites can be located. Number 6, other provinces are closing drug injection sites and adopting a recovery model, following the expertise of groups such as the Canadian Centre for Recovery of Excellence. Number 7, this decision to ignore the experts will leave people suspended in addiction and will not give Manitobans their lives back or their loved ones back. Number 8, the provincial government has failed to fund and operate any treatment or additional rapid access to addictions medicine clinics to break this cycle. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows. 1, to urge the provincial government to cancel drug injection sites at the Point Douglas community, including the proposed location at 200 Disraeli Freeway. Number 2, to urge the provincial government to legislate that no further sites will be proposed without community support. This petition was signed by Denise C. Lowen, Ariel Lambert, Lindsay Polnick, and many, many other Manitobans.
The honourable member for Selkirk.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker. I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Small businesses are vital in supporting their local economy, and the provincial government has a responsibility to act and support them. Number 2, the recent increase in vigilantism shows that Manitobans do not trust this provincial government to fulfill its responsibility. Number 3, more than half, 54% of small businesses in Manitoba are impacted by crime, property damage, theft, littering, and public intoxication are some of the crimes that affect most businesses, according to the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. There has been a 44% increase in shoplifting incidents over the last year. Number 4, in order to combat this rise of crime, small businesses try, unaided, to implement various out-of-pocket security measures and safety training for their staff, and they face increasing costs when they incur property damage or theft. 5, vandalism, break-ins, and other senseless acts cannot be accepted as a cost of doing business for businesses throughout Manitoba. The provincial government must do more to ease the burdens of small businesses and carrying with its catch and release justice system. Number 6, failing to support small businesses is failing Manitoba economy, failing Manitoba families, and failing Manitobans' dreams. Number 7, the security rebate program in place for homeowners and small businesses does not cover the real costs impacting businesses such as vandalism, property damage, and repairs. We urge the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to support Manitoba small businesses through specific funding to reimburse the expenses and insurance deductibles that they incur as a result of crime. This petition has been signed by Reed Sutherland, Luke Lovenjack, Harlan Pershot, and many other fine Manitobans.
That's great.
The Honourable Member for Roblin.
Thank you, Honourable Assistant Deputy Speaker. I wish to present the following petition. The background to this petition is as follows. Phoenix School, a kindergarten to grade 5 school located in Headingley, has experienced consistent enrollment growth over the last several years. Enrollment is expected to reach 275 students in the next 2 years. Because the school is now over capacity, the school division has had to install portable classrooms on site as of fall 2024. For several consecutive years, the top capital priority of the St. James Assiniboia School Division has been the renovation and expansion of Phoenix School. In 2022, the Phoenix School expansion and renovation project was approved to proceed to the design phase. The project included, among other amenities, a new gymnasium, 2 new classrooms, a multi-purpose room, and room for 74 childcare spaces. In June 2024, the school division received notice from the provincial government that the project has been deferred. There is no guarantee if or when the project will move forward. There are currently hundreds of children on a wait list for childcare in Headingley. The daycare operator in Phoenix School has been told that they will continue to have space within the school for the 2024-2025 school year only, that further expansion of childcare space within the school is not possible, and that space may be reduced moving forward due to the shortage of classrooms. If new space is not constructed as planned, many families may be left without childcare. It is critical that the expansion and renovation of Phoenix School proceed as planned in order to support the needs of students, teachers, and families in the growing community of Headingley. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to proceed with the planned renovation and expansion of Phoenix School without further delay. And this petition is signed by Sandra Miller, Sean Tosh, Laurie Cameron, and many, many other Manitobans.
The Honourable Member for Riding Mountain.
Honourable Deputy Speaker, I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. These are the reasons for this petition. 1, upgrading Provincial Trunk Highway 45 will accelerate economic development as it will enhance connectivity, facilitate efficient transportation, and promote economic growth in the region. 2, economic development will be further enhanced as improved road infrastructure attracts businesses, encourages investment, and creates job opportunities. 3, roads meeting the Roads and Transportation Association of Canada, RTAC standards, improve both safety and efficiency as they can handle heavier loads, reducing the number of trips required for goods transportation. 4, safer roads further benefit both commuters and commercial vehicles, minimizing accidents and damage. 5, upgrading to RTAC standards ensures resilience to challenges caused by climate change, such as thawing and flooding, which negatively impact road conditions. 6, efficient transportation networks contribute to Manitoba's economic competitiveness as upgraded roads support interprovincial and international goods movement, benefiting both trade and commerce. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the Minister of Transportation and Infrastructure to take the necessary steps to upgrade Provincial Trunk Highway 45 from Russell to Provincial Trunk Highway 10 to meet RTAC standards. Honourable Speaker, this petition has been signed by Brady Burla, E. Tate, and Pat McIsaac, as well as many, many other fine Manitobans. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
The Honourable Member for Spruce Woods.
Honourable Speaker, I wish to present the following petition to the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba. The background to this petition is as follows. Provincial Trunk Highway 34, PTH 34, is a 2-lane provincial primary highway that runs from the U.S. border where it meets with ND 20 to PTH 16 at the town of Gladstone. Number 2, PTH 34 runs north-south in the south-central region of the province. It is the main highway for towns of Crystal City, Pilot Mound, and Holland, serving as a main corridor for semi-trailers, farm equipment, daily drivers, and a local school bus routes. Number 3, a new bridge is currently being constructed over the Assiniboine River at PTH 34, north of Holland in the RM of Victoria. The bridge serves as an important north-south link over the Assiniboine River between the Trans-Canada Highway and PTH 2. Number 4, the deterioration of PTH 34 has raised major concerns due to its narrow shoulders and numerous deep potholes that pose serious safety risks, considering farmers often need to use the highway to transport heavy equipment. Number 5, construction of a new bridge in accordance current design codes and the RTAC standard located on the PTH 34 crossing the Assiniboine River will support trade and commerce and improve public safety in the area, and also accommodate flood events on the Assiniboine River. We petition the Legislative Assembly of Manitoba as follows: to urge the provincial government to address the conditions Provincial Trunk Highway 34, making the necessary upgrades to RTAC standard, and to resurface the road once the new bridge has been completed. This petition has been signed by Candace G., Daryl DeVos, and Leonard Van Spiegel, and many, many more great Canadians, or Manitobans.
No further petitions. The Honourable Member for La Vérendrye.
On a matter of urgent public importance.
Honourable Speaker, on a matter of urgent public importance.
Here. Honourable member for Lavarandre on a matter of urgent public importance.
Now you read your motion.
Honourable Speaker, I move, seconded by the member for Morden Winkler, that in accordance with Sub-Rule 39, Bracket 1, the regular business of the House be set aside to discuss a matter of urgent public importance, specifically Manitoba's affordability crisis and the province's deteriorating economic position.
Order, please. It's been moved by the Honourable Member for Lavarandre, seconded by the Honourable Member for Morden Winkler, that in accordance with Sub-Rule 39, Bracket 1, the regular business of the House be set aside to discuss a matter of urgent public importance, specifically Manitoba's affordability crisis and the province's deteriorating economic position. And prior to recognizing the member for Lavarandre, I will remind all members that will be speaking to this that they need to speak only to the urgency of why this needs to be debated today. They are not to speak about the actual substance. They can only speak about the urgency of why it has to be debated today or why it should not be debated today. The Honourable Member for Lavarandre.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I rise today to request an immediate debate on a matter of urgent public importance: affordability and Manitoba's collapsing economic position. Honourable Speaker, this House exists to debate pressing issues when a crisis emerges. Today, we are not at the edge of one. We are in the middle of one. The affordability crisis in Manitoba has reached a scale that is no longer cyclical, theoretical, or temporary. It is systemic, escalating, and urgent, and it is being compounded daily by government-made economic decline. Families are struggling to afford groceries, rent, heat, utilities, and transportation, basic pillars of household survival. And at the exact same moment these costs rise, the engines that provide family income are being driven out of this province. And that's why this is a matter of a very urgent public importance. Because affordability is not only about what Manitobans spend, it's about what Manitobans earn. And right now, Manitobans cannot afford the cost of living because industry cannot afford the cost of doing business in this province. Investment is leaving every single day, and I keep highlighting it, whether it be in question period or in debate. Jobs are leaving every day, and opportunity is leaving every day. And that's why this is so urgent. Not because Manitoban workers lack talent, it's because Manitoba ministers lack action. Let's look at the economic landscape objectively, Honourable Speaker. Statistics Canada confirms Manitoba is last in economic growth in this entire country, just 1.1%. There's a projection that potentially that number may have changed slightly, but what hasn't changed is that Manitoba is still dead last in the entire country. 1 in 5 households is now making heat or eat decisions. Nearly half of adults live within $200 of insolvency every single month. And Honourable Speaker, that is why the topic of affordability and our economy is so urgent right now in the province. Food banks now support 65,000 people every month, a number that has doubled since 2021. These aren't people that rely on hampers just for the Christmas season. These are people that rely on food banks and hampers to get by every day. Honourable Speaker, those numbers point to the same conclusion. This is a cost crisis, an income crisis, and a competitiveness crisis, all convening at once, accelerating at once, and worsening at once. Now let's examine the root cause that requires immediate debate today. Red tape, regulation, licensing friction, and government indifference. Not marginal barriers anymore. More characters in our economy decline. This government is chasing business out because permits sit without approval, regulatory burdens compound without consultation, and sector warnings sit without response. Licensing bottlenecks that stretches months and now into years. And ministers fail to recognize that delay is a policy decision with victims. And those victims, unfortunately, Honourable Speaker, are everyday Manitobans. Those same Manitobans that are accessing food banks. The same Manitobans that are making the decision whether to heat or eat. Industry isn't asking for symbolism. They're asking for action. Industry isn't looking for speeches. They're looking for signatures. Industry doesn't want studies. They want immediate approvals. And investors don't flee Manitoba because they prefer Saskatchewan or Ontario. They flee Manitoba because they prefer results. And Honourable Speaker, I've brought up many of these examples in recent days to this legislature. Honourable Speaker, neighbouring provinces are not absorbing our industries, they're welcoming them. And the proof sits in the rearview mirror of Manitoba, not in the proposals of Manitoba. Take Ontario's forestry sector, for example. Ontario Ministry of Natural Resources maintains competitive timber dues and reliable approvals, fueling an investment climate that Manitoba
Order,
Mills...
please. I've been pretty generous, but the member needs to really focus on why we need to debate that today. Not the substance of the issue, but why we need to debate it today. The honourable member from La Vérendrye.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, this is a matter of urgent public importance that must be debated today because, as I've said, the position of our economy is only worsening day by day. And if we waste any more time, by the time we come back in the spring, for the spring session, the position of our economy is only going to have gotten worse. The position of everyday Manitobans, month to month, is going to slide into a further state of concern. Honourable Speaker, this also needs to be debated today, and it's urgent to be on order for debate today because this government refused to call estimates in the fall. We couldn't ask any questions of any of the departments, and we need this debate to hear from government on how they're going to address the affordability crisis. And Honourable Speaker, I only give examples to hopefully jar this government into realizing the importance of debating the crisis that this has become today. Honourable Speaker, that's an example of such as the forestry industry that this minister, our Minister of Natural Resources, has been presented with chasing the forestry sector out of our province. And that's just one example. We see it from other ministries of this government as well. And they are creating an affordability crisis. They are creating the reasons for more people than ever before accessing food banks in our province.
They got salad.
They are adding to the fact that industry is moving each and every day in the wrong direction. They're moving outside of this province instead of into this province. I've highlighted also the agriculture sector and examples of how the value-added sector of that economy is leaving each and every day for where they can make a living for their own business, for the people that they hire and employ. That's why this is so urgent that it is for debate today by this government. Honourable Speaker, we're concerned, Manitobans are concerned, and I request that each member on the government side and members from the Progressive Conservative side and independents have a 10-minute time to immediately debate this today. Because this issue is not convenient, it is critical. Honourable Speaker, we have a land of plenty, but we do not currently have a land of paychecks. Let's urgently debate how to restore them today.
The Honourable Minister of Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. First of all, Honourable Speaker, I just want to begin by just cautioning members opposite when they use language like victims, particularly on a day when we are commemorating victims of the Montreal Massacre. And on a day like this, I think it's important that we use that language particularly carefully and with the utmost respect of those who actually lost their lives in a terrible gender-based violence attack in Montreal. Honourable Speaker, to the subtext of the matter today, the proposed MUPI, I think it's very important that we, first of all, address the urgency or lack thereof of this issue. Member opposite could have raised the question during question period today on this subject, but during question period, he did not rise to bring this question forward. He chose not to. Chose to stand in his place and not bring this up for an issue. So I think it's important that we address the issue of urgency head on. But now, Honourable Speaker, let's get to some of the substance, the failed substance, the failed member, the failed opposition, the failed former government. I think it's very important for us to address the fact that they failed economically and they failed affordability. They try to bring this up as an issue, but it's an issue that was long-standing under the former PC government, where they failed in their efforts to bring any sort of affordability or economic success or gain to Manitoba. For years, Manitobans were fleeing the province under Brian Pallister.
Order, please. I just remind the Minister that we need to talk about the urgency of the debate today. So the Honourable Minister of Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation.
Well, I appreciate that guidance, Honourable Speaker. And it's important for us to actually look at what's happening today. So today we know that our GDP in Manitoba was revised up, showing that we will have a higher and faster rate of growth than Ontario. The province that the member opposite points to as being this sort of beacon of economic success, we're going to have a higher rate of growth than Ontario. That shows that our policies, our economic framework, our landscape of creating an economic environment of success is one that is going to be stronger than our neighbors to the east in Ontario. On top of that, the recent report by the Conference Board of Canada, their outlook says that Manitoba will join Ontario and Alberta in leading non-residential investment gains from 2027 to 2030 that very much says we're in the driver's seat for economic growth and success. People are coming to Manitoba to invest. Why did the Conference Board of Canada point that out? It's because of two significant projects that are coming up in Manitoba. The Alamos Gold Project, which was stagnant under the former government, which they did nothing on. They couldn't get it over the finish line. People refused to work with them. Under our government, we worked with the First Nations. Marcel Colomb, Matthias Colomb. We worked with Lynn Lake. We worked with Alamos Gold, and we stood up a brand new gold mine, $1 billion investment right here in Manitoba. Never have.
There, now maybe you can hear me say order. I would remind the minister to keep his comments relevant to the urgency or lack thereof of the issue, not the issue itself. The Honourable Minister of Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation.
All Manitobans know how they failed when it came to economic development and how our government is finding success. That's the urgency of the words I'm speaking and putting on the record today. Honourable Speaker, they have no leg to stand on when it comes to critical minerals. In fact, the only thing they dug was a hole in our economy. Instead, we're putting critical mineral projects on the ground so more Manitobans have opportunity to work. The Manitobans in northern Manitoba, in central Manitoba, the south, the east are all working because of our government's effort to provide an economic framework for success. I'm so excited about the work we've done in logging to bring together people for the Louisiana Pacific Line and the work we're doing in western Manitoba on the logging front. That puts real Manitobans and protects real Manitoba jobs, unlike anything member opposites ever did in the forestry sector. We're actually bringing long-term sustainability in the forestry sector. When it comes to natural resources, we're making sure that we do a great job of developing them in the right way, sustainably, environmentally friendly, to make sure Manitobans have the economic success for the future. Where were members opposite on the Port of Churchill? They were calling for it to be canceled.
Please. Order, please. Order, please. So, once again, I have to caution the minister about keeping his comments relevant to the urgency. And I realize that with the rules the way they are around muppies, that is a challenge. I would be more than happy to entertain a change to the rules so that something like this can be used as it should be. The Honourable Minister of Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. If this matter was urgent, the member opposite would have brought up Churchill today. If this matter was urgent, he would have brought up critical minerals today. If this matter was urgent, he would have brought our booming agricultural sector up today. If this matter was urgent, Honourable Speaker, he would have brought up our life sciences sector today. If this matter was urgent, he would have brought up our manufacturing sector today. He didn't, Honourable Speaker. And that's why it's important for me to put these words on the record, that we are supporting these industries to make sure we have the economic success, not just for us, but for generations to come, Honourable Speaker. And manufacturing, I've got to call the member out on what he said this morning regarding manufacturing, saying that manufacturing didn't take place in a strong way here in Manitoba, saying that we weren't a manufacturing hub. That's what he put on the record this morning, Honourable Speaker. I take that offense to that, and I think people right across the province take offense to that. We are a manufacturing hub. We have manufacturing excellence here in Manitoba. The innovation here in Manitoba in manufacturing, we should be proud of that, and I am proud of that. Member opposite doesn't seem to be proud of that. He doesn't seem to understand the complex and advanced innovative manufacturing we do here in Manitoba, but we get it on this side of the house. Manitobans get it. They understand the type of excellence we provide in the manufacturing, advanced, specialized manufacturing we do, whether that comes to aerospace sector, electric vehicles, buses, tractors, fire trucks, ambulances. These are all things we build with expertise, with precision, and it is important that we acknowledge these things. That's the urgency, Honourable Speaker. That's the urgency for Manitobans. They ought to know how we defend our economy. What is the greatest threat to our economy, Honourable Speaker? It is the Donald Trump tariffs. And who were the people who were saying, bring on the tariffs?
Order, please. Order, please. Order. Order. Once again. As many as I decide. The Honourable Minister needs to keep his comments relevant to the urgency of the debate today. While other issues he's bringing up may be important, we need to hear why it should or should not be debated today. Nothing else. The Honourable Minister, Business, Mining, Trade and Job Creation.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for the guidance. This very clearly is a fictitious MUPI brought forward by members opposite. It's fictitious. In the word of some of my great colleagues, fictitious. Now, the urgency for our economy, it's important that we talk about the real challenges. Like I mentioned, tariffs are a real challenge to our economy, and members opposite are thanking Donald Trump for that. The reality is we're defending businesses here in the face of tariffs. What have we done? We've invested in companies like DUA, who are bringing U.S. jobs and bringing those manufacturing jobs right here to Winnipeg. That is our government supporting industry in the face of tariffs that they thanked Donald Trump for. They thanked him for that. It's unconscionable, their approach to economic development. Instead, we work with businesses and bring them here to Manitoba. The urgency, Honourable Deputy Speaker, is in companies like Sapphire Spring. They're going to be a world-leading fish farm. Urgencies in companies like Magellan, like Aerospace, who are leading in the aerospace sector. The urgency, Honourable Speaker, is in Move Mobility, an ambulance company making groundbreaking vehicles for healthcare services across the country, like Alamos Gold, who's putting forward $1 billion investment into our province, growing our economy for all Manitobans, and particularly northern Manitobans. That, Honourable Speaker, is the urgency of us building an economy for all Manitobans.
Order, please. Order, please. Order. 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 So I thank the honourable members for the advice to the chair on the motion proposed by the honourable member for La Vérendrye for a matter of urgent public importance. The 90-minute notice required prior to the start of routine proceedings by Sub-Rule 39(1) was provided, and I thank the member for that. Under our rules and practices, the subject matter referenced in the member's motion must be so pressing that the public interest will suffer if it is not given immediate attention. Crucially, there must also be no other reasonable opportunities to raise the matter. I've listened very carefully to the arguments put forward, and although affordability and the province's economic position are indeed very serious topics and worthy of consideration and discussion, I would ask that the Speaker be heard in silence. My duty in this moment is to determine if there are other opportunities for debate on such matters. With that in mind, I must note that members do have the opportunity to speak on this topic during member statements or when raising a grievance. Earlier today, the member for La Vérendrye spoke about it during his private member's resolution. Members can also ask questions on this topic during oral questions. Further, those opportunities and others will continue to be available every sitting day in this House. Accordingly, I do not believe the motion meets the criteria as a matter of urgent public importance, as there are other opportunities to debate the matter, and with the greatest of respect, then, I must rule this motion out of order as a matter of urgent public importance. And again, I would reiterate, if there was an interest in changing the rule around matters of urgent public importance, I would be more than happy to hear it. Grievances. Orders of the day, government business, the Honorable Government House Leader.
Go. Would you please call second reading debate, resume second reading debate on Bill 2, followed by the commencement of second reading debate on Bill 3.
Order, please. The member for Steinbach needs to come to order. So, it has been announced that we will now resume debate on second reading of Bill 2, the Non-Consensual Distribution of Intimate Images Amendment Act, followed by debate on second reading of Bill 3, the Manitoba Public Insurance Corporation Amendment Act. So now we will resume debate on Bill 2, standing in the name of the Honourable Member for Spruce Woods, who has 16 minutes remaining. The Honourable Member for Spruce Woods. No. The Honourable Member for Steinbach.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. And I thank my colleague from Spruce Woods who put some tremendous words on the record yesterday and inspired me to speak briefly before this bill comes to a vote later today, Honourable Speaker. And it is an important bill to come to a vote. I want to acknowledge right at the beginning, as others have already, the many women and men in law enforcement and other places like the Child Protection Center who every day are dealing with these horrendous crimes and have to, as part of their job, view these incredibly harmful and hurtful images. And I recall now many years ago visiting the ICE unit of the Winnipeg Police Service, the Integrated Child Exploitation Unit. And I was not only moved by the incredible work that the men and women were doing in the ICE unit, but very, very moved by the mental toll that it took on them. In fact, maybe the policy has changed because, as I mentioned, Honourable Speaker, it was some time ago, but there was a limited amount of time that those individuals could serve in the ICE unit of the Winnipeg Police Service because it was so traumatic. And what I actually found interesting and somewhat surprising at that time is that most of the folks who were working in the ICE unit were parents. They had children. Many of them had young children. And I remember asking them at that time how they could do this job looking at these horrific images of young children who in many cases were the same age of their own children. And they said clearly that's why they did it. That's why they were motivated to do that work. And of course, it extends to organizations, as I mentioned, like the Child Exploitation or the Child Protection Center in Winnipeg, that is housed in Winnipeg, that its home is in Winnipeg. We're very, very proud of that center being in Winnipeg. I've had the opportunity in various roles to visit them. In fact, I invited them to the Justice Ministers meeting a few years ago to make a presentation to all the Ministers of Justice from around the country, and they did a fantastic job of telling all the Attorney Generals and Ministers of Justice from across Canada the kind of work that they do and how important that work is. And so I want to thank them as well for the continued work that they do. And there have been many people in this House I know who have had interaction with them. I believe that your predecessor, Myrna Dreger, the former Speaker of the House, was involved with the creation of the Child Protection Center as well, and often spoke in this House about how critically important it was in the work that they did. And so I commend people like Myrna and many others who've been involved in the organization. And I really do believe that this is one of those issues that is just not political when it comes to protecting children. Many, many years ago, I brought forward legislation that created a tort that was relative, so when we were in opposition previously, that was relative to child exploitation. At that time, I was sitting with Dave Chomiak, who was then the Minister of Justice, and it was an opposition bill that was passed. And I would encourage my friend from St. John's, to also look at opposition bills that are worthy of passing, because there are many issues that are not political, that are apolitical, and I actually think it reflects well upon this Assembly when bills from all members of the House, regardless if they're in government or not, are passed. And at times when I'm not sure that there's always great honor that is shined on the Assembly because of a variety of different things, those are the sort of things that I think are helpful, that people can see that bills from across the aisle, government and opposition and independent members, are moving through the legislature because they're not political bills, because they are something that's important. But of course, and so I would preface my upcoming comments with the clear understanding, Honourable Speaker, that I believe that every member of this House, regardless of political stripe, believes very strongly in the importance of protecting children from child exploitation. And I wouldn't want anybody to ever suggest otherwise. But there are questionable things that happen and things that are sort of leave one to wonder where exactly the government is on certain issues. We've had lots of discussion, and it happened after a Supreme Court decision a couple of weeks ago regarding child exploitation, where many premiers and attorney generals from across Canada were calling on the use of the notwithstanding clause to uphold legislation that brought in a mandatory minimum sentence of 1 year for those who were in possession of child pornography. And I think it was almost a universal call. I mean, not every premier was in favor of the suggestion of the notwithstanding clause, but certainly I think the majority of them were, and the majority representing the majority of population in Canada. Our premier here in the province, after having spent the previous week talking about how they would never use the notwithstanding clause, did an amazing 180, one of the fastest 180s I've ever seen a premier do. It probably was leaving him still dizzy, and came forward and started promoting the notwithstanding clause to protect children and to protect that particular piece of legislation. Now, I think there's many of us who have concerns with that particular court ruling. I think there are people who are much more knowledgeable legal scholars than I am who read that case. There was a 4-3 case, so there was a strong dissent on the decision, but who said the court could have sent a similar message in a different way. The court could have simply said to Parliament, there are situations in where this might not be appropriate, and you should rewrite the legislation to reflect that without striking down the legislation. But the legislation got struck down, and so the use of the notwithstanding clause was promoted by many premiers across Canada to uphold that legislation to protect children. And this premier did an amazing 180 on the use of the notwithstanding clause. And so I suspect that even members of his own caucus have no idea what their government position is on the use of the notwithstanding clause for things such as protecting children when legislation is deemed to be unconstitutional by the courts, because they went from the premier saying they were never going to use the notwithstanding clause to the next week saying they've been in favor of it since 1999, when Gary Dewar made some sort of a mention about the notwithstanding clause in the throne speech. And of course, then about a week later, the premier was again saying that they're not in favor of the notwithstanding clause. So who knows where they stand on that? I don't doubt for a second that the premier and all members of the opposition absolutely are concerned about the exploitation of children. That is not my point. My point is you actually have to have a consistent position, though, when the application of the law comes into place, and we have no idea. The premier stood in this House and he said things like, we should turn people who are in isolation units who are convicted of child pornography loose into the prison system. He said if it was up to him that is what he would do. The strange thing is it is kind of up to him, because if you look at the Headingley prison, there are isolation units where there are people who are convicted of child pornography. So that left a lot of people in the penal system, and I've talked to a couple of them, who were scratching their heads and wondering if there was a new policy coming from the premier, because the premier said that they should be turned loose in general population. And of course, the guards weren't really commenting on those particular people who were convicted, but they work in this facility and they were worried about their own safety if there was going to be some sort of new policy, because members would know that within our provincial jail system, there's all sorts of people who are separated from each other, including gang members who are isolated and separated by the virtue of the gang that they're in, so that they're not mixing with other gangs. And that's not to protect necessarily. I mean, there's an element of it. It's not necessarily just to protect those individuals who are incarcerated. It's to protect the staff. And if anybody has any wonderings about what would actually happen in situations where that wasn't always the case, there are some of us who are old enough to remember the Headingley riot. And you can look it up and see what would happen. So I don't actually believe, and I didn't believe when I heard the Premier say it, that he, if it was up to him, that he was going to turn these folks loose into general population at great risk to the staff. I didn't think he would do it, even though it is actually up to him to some degree when it comes to Headingley. But he was trying to make some sort of a political point. And I don't know that when it comes to issues of child safety and child exploitation, that is the time to be trying to make political points without actual fact and actual evidence about what you're going to be doing from a legislative perspective. So I would again, and I want, because it's amazing how often words that are quite innocent get misconstrued in this place. I have no doubt that every member of this House, regardless of political party, or whether they're in no political party at all and they're sitting as independents, have concern about child exploitation. That is not my opinion. I know that everybody is concerned about it, but you have to be careful about how you express your words, and you have to be consistent. You can't one day say we're never going to apply the notwithstanding clause to anything, and then the other day or the next day be demanding that it be applied to a Supreme Court decision that you clearly didn't know what was coming down. You have to leave yourself some flexibility and understanding of what's going on, and you shouldn't be speculating about what you may or may not do in the judicial system, in the penal system, when it comes to these individuals who are rightly incarcerated, and we all believe that they should be incarcerated for a very, very long time, when it is actually within your authority to do the things you're threatening to do, and it causes all sorts of questions for those who are working in the justice system. So again, we know that we're going to bring this bill to a vote today, and I would ask the government to continue, as opposition members will, to look for different ways to protect children who are otherwise the victim of child exploitation. The world is changing, as it always has, in a rapid pace, and it seems that the older you get, the faster it seems to be changing. But for those of us who have children in our lives, regardless of what age they are, whether they're younger, my son's a teenager, almost about to leave his teenage years, we've seen the rapid change when it comes to technology, how fast things are happening in the world, how fast young people get information, how the simple click of a button can change their lives forever in devastating ways. Information is now not only sometimes transmitted to another individual, and intimate images can be transmitted to another individual, but you never get them back. It's not like the days when me and my friend from Portage to Prairie, when you would take a picture to a place and actually get it developed, and you had to sort of wait for a week for it to come back. These things are very different, and you can't just simply destroy those images. They are there forever. And the impact that it can have on a child's life is immeasurable. And we've heard these heart-wrenching cases of young people who've taken their life because they can't see any other way past it. They can't believe that there's any other way that they can get past that particular humiliation that they're feeling. So even the threat of distributing intimate images, with this particular legislation deals with, is something that should absolutely be codified, and there should be a tort against it as a way to have a deterrence against individuals who would use that particular threat. And I would again ask the government to not only continue their work. There are many fine people in the Department of Justice, I know, who each and every day are looking for ways, who are scanning the environment, who are looking at different ideas from other provinces and other countries, and bringing them forward to the policy department and policy individuals within the Department of Justice. They then bring them forward to the minister, and the minister can consider them. And I would encourage those folks in the Department of Justice to continue to do that good work. And then I would encourage the minister and other members of the government to take suggestions from the opposition. Not everything here has to be a zero-sum game. Not every time somebody gains something in this House does it have to come at the expense of somebody else. I actually believe that sometimes everybody can gain from pieces of legislation. And I know that our House leader believes very strongly in having those discussions and looking at bills that not only should be supported from the government side, but should be supported from the opposition side as well, whether they deal with topics like this or other topics, because that ultimately is a benefit to all of us. It doesn't come at the expense of another party, and I do think it's important for the government, led in this particular situation by the government House Leader, to not look at everything as a loss if something is given. I use that word in quotations, given to the opposition, because it's not given to us. It's not for the benefit of opposition. It's for the benefit of Manitobans. And too much of that is lost, I think, sometimes here when we're having these discussions in the House. So I would again, ask that as we continue to see the world evolve and we continue to see things change in ways that we can't quite expect and that we can't quite predict, that all of us redouble our efforts to find ways to, as much as you can, have legislation to protect children. And then we have to go beyond that, because you can't always legislate common sense, and you can't always legislate away inappropriate or criminal behavior. Then we have a responsibility beyond that as individuals who are elected, but also who live in Manitoba, who are parents, who are grandparents, to impart that knowledge to the people that we have an influence on. And we have, as MLAs, we have more influence on people than others might, because we're fortunate to be elected into these positions. And so we have ways to amplify our voice, and we have ways to amplify our concerns in situations. So quite beyond legislation that we might be bringing forward, we also have the ability to go and to say that this is something that's crucially important for us as individuals, and speak to the young people and others who have influence on young people within our lives. So I don't want to belabor this point too long, because I do know we want to move this bill forward for a vote in this House, and I have no doubt that it is going to pass unanimously, because I don't think that there's anybody in this House who isn't concerned about this particular situation. But at the risk of running into relevance, Honourable Speaker, as this will be my last time to speak in this House before the end of the session, I do want to wish all members and yourself as the Speaker and the clerks who are at the table, and those who might be listening or who might be listening at another point, I want to wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday. However you celebrate the season, I hope that you have a great opportunity to be with your family, and that you can have a relaxing time and decompress from a place that sometimes has a lot of pressure in it. And it is important that all of us take that time to decompress and to get some perspective on things that are important in our lives. So I want to wish to all the staff, Hansard staff, security staff, everybody who is working in this building. And because I didn't get the opportunity, this is one thing the Premier and I have in common. We both didn't get to speak to the throne speech, maybe for different reasons. But I do want to also thank the great constituents of Steinbach for their continued support for me, and to thank my family, my wife Kim and my son Malachi, for the incredible support they've been to me throughout my elected life. So with those, I know, irrelevant words, but I think important, Honourable Speaker, I want to wish everybody a great holiday, and I look forward to this bill passing. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Seeing no other speakers, is the House ready for the question? So the question before the House is second reading of Bill 2, the Non-Consensual Distribution of Intimate Images Amendment Act. Is it the pleasure of the House to adopt the motion? Agreed, and so ordered. The Honourable Opposition House Leader.
Recorded vote, please, Honourable
A
Speaker.
recorded vote has been requested. Please call in the members. Oh, okay. Order, please. The question before the House is second reading of Bill 2, the Non-Consensual Distribution of Intimate Images Act. All those in the House in favor of the motion, please rise.
Okay.
Honorable Minister Fontaine,
Honorable Minister Fontaine.
Honorable Minister Schmidt,
Honorable Minister Schmidt.
Honorable Mr. Wiebe,
Honorable Mr. Wiebe.
Honorable Minister Asaguera,
Honorable Minister Asaguera.
Honorable Minister Sala,
Honorable Minister Sala.
Honorable Mr. Kostishin,
Honorable Mr. Kostishin.
Mr. Khan,
Mr. Khan.
Mr. Johnson,
Mr. Johnson.
MLA Bariza,
MLA Bariza.
Mrs. Cook,
Mrs. Cook.
Mr. Narth,
Mr. Narth.
Ms. Byram,
Ms. Byram.
Honorable Mr. Bushy,
Honorable Mr. Bushy.
Honorable Mr. Simard,
Honorable Mr. Simard.
Honorable Minister Kennedy,
Honorable Minister Kennedy.
Honorable Mr. Moses,
Honorable Mr. Moses.
Honorable Minister Cable,
Honorable Minister Cable.
Honorable Minister Sandhu,
Honorable Minister Sandhu.
Honorable Minister Moyes,
Honorable Minister Moyes.
Honorable Minister Moroz,
Honorable Minister Moroz.
Mr. Gertzen,
Mr. Gertzen.
Mrs. Hebert,
Mrs. Hebert.
Mr. Balkin,
Mr. Balkin.
Mr. King,
Mr. King.
Mr. Iwasko,
Mr. Iwasko.
MLA Malloway,
MLA Malloway.
MLA Corbett,
MLA Corbett.
Mr. Blaschko,
Mr. Blaschko.
MLA Chen,
MLA Chen.
MLA Pankratz,
MLA Pankratz.
MLA Devgun,
MLA Devgun.
MLA Compton,
MLA Compton.
Mr. Oxenham,
Mr. Oxenham.
MLA Loisel,
MLA Loisel.
Mrs. Schott,
Mrs. Schott.
Mr. Broad,
Mr. Brar.
MLA Redhead,
MLA Redhead.
Mr. Nesbitt,
Mr. Nesbitt.
Mrs. Robbins,
Mrs. Robbins.
MLA Cross.
MLA Cross.
All those in the House opposed to the motion, please rise. We will now conduct the alphabetical roll call of members participating virtually, and as a reminder to all virtual members, please clearly respond either with I vote yes or I vote no only when your name is called. Unmute your mic only when you're recognized, and then immediately mute it again once you've declared to vote. The page will now conduct the vote.
Ms. Laughlin,
I vote yes.
Ms. Laughlin votes yes.
Honorable Minister Naylor,
I vote yes.
Honorable Mr. Naylor votes yes. Well done. Ayes 42, nays 0.
I declare the motion carried. Now, before we rise, I would once again remind members, if you have not already done so, please remove the contents of your desk before you leave the chamber. At this point in time, I extend an invitation to all members to come to the Speaker's office as we have a little get-together just to wind up the session and wish everyone all the best as they go back to their constituencies. I hate when we call this a break, because if we're doing our jobs right, it's really not a break. So, the hour being 5 p.m., well, past 5 p.m., this House is adjourned and stands adjourned until 1:30 p.m. on Wednesday, March 4th, 2026, or to the call of the Speaker.